believe everything is fine, if you're convinced there is no corruption, no hidden networks, no powerful people operating behind closed doors, then this video might not be for you. In my previous videos, I always tried to explain where we might be heading. Some people called it conspiracy thinking. But today, we're not talking about theories. We're talking about documents. This video is not about showing shocking images. It's not about repeating scandals everyone has already seen. This video is about two things. First, understanding who truly holds power in today's world. Second, and more importantly, understanding what could happen next. Because what has been released so far may only be the beginning. I'm Joker, and tonight, we're going behind the mask. What people call the Epstein files were not a single leak. They were not a sudden drop like WikiLeaks or a hacked server exposed overnight. They were multiple batches of legal documents released gradually through official court processes in the United States. Released partially, released selectively, released in ways that raised as many questions as they answered. Millions of pages, depositions under oath, flight logs spanning years, internal communications between powerful people, legal testimonies given in court with legal consequences for lying. These were not random social media rumors. They were not anonymous blog posts. They were real court documents, previously sealed for years, hidden from public view by judges and legal motions. But even now, after all this time, large portions remain classified. Some names were revealed, some were redacted, some were mentioned in passing, some appeared dozens of times. And here's the important part. Being mentioned does not automatically mean guilt. Some were visitors, some were acquaintances, some were witnesses, some were accused, some were never formally charged, some were victims themselves. The difference matters. But there's something more important than the names themselves. The repetition, the same locations appearing over and over, the same travel routes, the same private planes, the same small circle of intermediaries, the same social circles, decade after decade, and the same silence from institutions, from media, from law enforcement for far too long. That pattern is not coincidence. When Jeffrey Epstein purchased Little St. James in the late 1990s, it wasn't just a vacation home. It wasn't just a rich man's toy. It was chosen, private, isolated, legally complicated, outside standard oversight, yet close enough to major power centers to be convenient. An island offers four things you cannot get anywhere else. Absolute control, no unexpected witnesses, no police raids, no journalists asking questions at the gate. Legal ambiguity. Private islands exist in strange legal territory. Whose jurisdiction? Who has authority to enter? Who investigates complaints? The answers are rarely clear. And that ambiguity protects those inside. Total privacy. For public figures who live under constant media scrutiny, the promise of total privacy is intoxicating. No cameras, no reporters, no record of who came and went, except the one kept by the owners. Psychological isolation. Once someone is there, they're removed from the outside world. No easy exit, no phone signal without permission, no way to leave without cooperation. That changes behavior. It changes decisions, and according to testimonies, everything was documented. Cameras in specific locations. Visitor logs kept meticulously. Security systems designed to track movement. Structured scheduling of arrivals, activities, departures. Documentation is power, and power can be used as leverage. Not immediately, but Why did powerful people go? There are many reasons someone in power might accept an invitation to a place like that. Curiosity. When you've lived inside protocol your whole life, the idea of somewhere completely off the record can be tempting. Influence, private meetings away from embassies and cameras, deals made without paper trails, conversations that never officially happened. Networking. The island attracted a specific kind of crowd. If you wanted access to that world, sometimes the invitation itself was the entry point. Exclusivity. For some, it was simply status. Being seen in the right places, even privately, mattered. For public figures who live under constant scrutiny, a private island invitation can feel like freedom. But isolation can also be a trap. Not everyone who visited committed crimes. Not everyone knew what happened in other parts of the island. But everyone who entered became part of a controlled environment. And when documentation exists, that environment becomes leverage. The bigger question, here's what the media coverage often misses. Epstein did not operate alone. Court records show coordinators, lawyers, assistants, flight planners, recruiters, social intermediaries who opened doors. This was not random chaos. It was structured. It was funded. It was protected. Epstein may have been the face, but systems like this rarely belong to one individual. The island required money, lots of it. The travel required coordination. The secrecy required coordination from multiple directions. Then, after decades of operation, he was arrested. And shortly after, he died in prison. With him, many answers disappeared. Officially, again, why now? Why were documents released years later? Why these documents? Why these names? Why these timing? Was it transparency? Was it justice finally arriving? Or was it something else? Internal power struggles, controlled damage management, warning shots between rival factions. The release was calculated. Names without verdicts, documents without full conclusions, questions without final answers. Enough to shake reputation, not enough to resolve everything. That is not accidental. That is a strategy. The most disturbing element isn't just alleged misconduct. It's not just the acts themselves, as horrific as they are. It's desensitization. When powerful individuals are repeatedly exposed to morally extreme environments, their emotional reactions weaken over time. Fear decreases, shame fades, boundaries blur. Things that once seemed unthinkable become normalized. A desensitized leader makes colder decisions, decisions that affect millions, decisions that ignore suffering, decisions that treat human life as data. That may be the most dangerous consequence of all. Not just what happened on one island, but what it created in people who shaped the world. Here's the reality that rarely gets discussed. Epstein is dead. But trafficking statistics worldwide show that millions of children are exploited every year, not in the past. One island was exposed, but there are thousands of remote locations across the globe. Private properties, gated compounds, islands without names, places where law enforcement doesn't go, places where jurisdiction is unclear. The system is larger than one man, larger than one scandal, larger than one country. The mistake would be thinking the story ended. It didn't. The names still hold power. The networks still exist. The documentation, most of it, is still hidden. So what do we do with this information? Do we despair? Do we disengage? Do we convince ourselves it's too big to fight? No, the real protection is not panic. It's not fear. It's not pretending it doesn't exist. It's awareness, knowing how power operates, recognizing the patterns, understanding that corruption rarely looks like a villain in a movie. It looks like a respected figure at a private gathering. Protect your families. Protect your children. Question power. Stay informed. Teach the next generation to see what you were taught to ignore. Because in this era, awareness is not optional. It's survival.